Hi everyone, and welcome to the WTD podcast. My name is Kyia Mochitani, and I'm your host for today's episode. Every episode, it'll be me right here. So, for today's episode, we are talking all things what's the deal. And I just wanted to talk about what I learned from college and all of the lessons, all of the things that I wish I knew before I went to college. And now that I have done my freshman year, the year that, you grow, you learn the most, I'm here to share. So, key points I'm talking about today. Ready? Making friends, navigating, how the process of making friends is, or if it's not happening as fast as possible, what do you do? If you had an embarrassing night out and you just feel hopeless, you just feel like you're an embarrassment or something like that, I'll share, my embarrassing night and my most embarrassing night, I should say. I've had multiple. And then lastly, just what it's like having a roommate for the first time, sharing such a small space with a person that you really don't know, potentially. So, background. I went to University of Mississippi, SEC school. I'm, from Southern California, so moving 1,500 miles away was crazy, but I'm so glad I did it. No, I'm not going back. It just wasn't what's best for me this year, but I don't regret it, and I have learned so much about myself, and I'm so thankful for the experience and for the opportunity to even go there. So let's get right into it. Making friends. For me, making friends was really tough because it took me a long time to find, true friends or real friends. And it took me a while to have a friend group or, I would say just make friends in general. So if you are someone who's, at college right now and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm at school and it feels like everybody already knows someone, everybody already has their best friend, or everyone's already making friends and I'm just not, what's going on? Just know that it's okay, that you're literally on the right path just as you are. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to stress about. Just know it happened to me. And I have the best of friends ever, literally ever, from college. So for me, at the University of Mississippi, it's such a family-oriented school, and a lot of people from Mississippi go there. Duh. Not many people from California go there. Duh. But I was just like, oh my God, everyone already has their person. Everybody already has their best friend. Everybody already has a friend group. I'm just such an outsider. But that's what I told myself, and that's what I believed, and that's how it was, right? I made myself out to be an outsider because that was the story I created in my head. But the minute that I was like, okay, you know what? No, I'm on this right path. I'm just going to be myself, and I'm going to attract the right people. That's the second that it worked for me in literally the best way possible. So what I mean by that, Kyia, when you say literally just be yourself, duh, that's what everyone's whatever. So cliche. I get it, but trust me, if you are yourself authentically to a T, you will attract the right kind of people. The people that I attracted, I literally will love on for the rest of my life and some. I had literally the sweetest, awesomest girls on floor 2 who were literally nothing but an angel to me. And it took me a while to meet those girls, but when I did, and when I, formed a good friendship with all of them, oh my God, I was like, yes, this is awesome. This is what I want. And then I made some awesome, amazing, freaking awesome people, awesome friends on my floor who literally are incredible, and I literally still keep up with them to this day, despite me being back home. And then I met some literally I would say awesome people again, but I wanted to change it up. Some literally inspiring and I don't even know what to say, just perfect people in my sorority and at the gym. I had a little cute gym friend group who, oh my gosh, guys, they are, oh my God, so awesome. And then same with girls in my sorority. So it took time, and I had to become uncomfortable. I had to put myself out there. I had to go out more, or not conform who I was, if that makes sense. Like, it was uncomfortable, like when everyone wanted to go do something and I was like, oh, that's not really me. Like, I'm not like that. And it was uncomfortable for me to do that, but it worked out for me in the better. So just stick to who you are. Just stick to like your morals, what you stand for, and all that in a bag of chips, because you truly will attract those kinds of people. And I promise. Yes. And then next key point would be, you had an embarrassing night. Okay. Let me just lay it all on the table and tell you about one of my most embarrassing nights at college. So I had COVID, I think the first week of school, which was really hard for me because I had to like be in quarantine while everyone else was making friends. And I just felt like it was such a crucial time to make friends, but I had to be in quarantine. Then a few days later, my roommate got COVID, so she had a quarantine too. And when I came back, some girls on my floor were like, hi, you want to go out with us? Like, we're going to go wherever. And I was like, yeah, awesome. Remind you, like, from COVID, I didn't have my taste or smell. So I go out and I, whatever one does at a bar. And one thing leads to another, and I just have too much. And then one thing leads to another. Somehow my friends and we Ubered to some different party, some house party, and I still am going over my limit. And I remember I was like, okay, I gotta go. So me and my friend, we Ubered back because we could not be there much longer, else it was not gonna be good for both of us. So we Ubered back, got home safe, and I remember FaceTiming Jake, being like, Jake, I got home, I'm home. And then all of a sudden I go, oh, I'm gonna throw up. And I just run to the bathroom, sprint out the door. Remind you, my roommate's still in quarantine, so she's not here. Thank God she didn't have to see this. But I'm sprinting down the hall, and then I just vomit. 2 more steps, vomit. 2 more steps, vomit. I'm projectile vomiting all on the 8th floor of Crosby, and I am so sorry if you guys live there and got a text from RCA saying, if you live in X amount of rooms, don't go out your door because there's throw up. That was me, and I'm sorry. Very sorry. I'm so embarrassed. But yeah, that was one of my really bad nights, and I had to wake up and hear about all the stuff that I did and said and whatever. Like, how awful is that? But here's what I learned from that experience. Everybody will forget about it in a few days. No one really brought it up unless we were all hanging out and it would be in an ongoing joke, kind of throw up, whatever. But no one brought it up. No one remembered oh my God, Kyia's really bad night at the end of the year. Everyone forgot in a few days. Another thing I had to come to terms is okay, other people had bad nights too. I'm not the only one. It's okay. That comforts me knowing that I wasn't the only one who had bad nights, because trust me, everyone in college has bad night. And if you don't believe that, then you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. But it's true. Most people have really bad nights. And then another thing that I had to think about and come to terms with was whatever happened, happened, and it's done. And there's no going back. And all I can do is just move forward. And that thought and knowing that comforted me, okay, it happened. I can't live in the past anymore. I'm just gonna have to move on, learn from my mistakes, and move on. Yes, so that's exactly what I did. So if that happens to you, whatever happened, it happened, right? It'll be a funny story in 5 years, first of all. And there's no going back. There's no changing it. Learn, truly learn, okay, this is what I did wrong, and then just move forward. That's what happens. And then another thing that I want to talk about is sharing a space, a small space with someone for the first time, and potentially it being a complete stranger, how it was in my case. Granted, I did get very lucky with my roommate. I'll call her Jessica for the privacy of her name, because I don't know if she wants me to talk about her name, but Jessica, she was so awesome and so respectful and so amazing. And I know that's not the case for most people, but in my case, the reason why I was so respectful of her and she was so respectful of me is because, first of all, truly we loved each other, and we just were we're gonna make this work. We're both, living in such a small space. I don't want to make it hell. I just want to make it work. And so when there's love there first, respect follows. So if you just love your roommate for all that she is, all the flaws, all the good, all the bad, then respect will follow, right? So your roommate, you, and maybe you're a sophomore, junior, senior, whatever, but always have this thought. your roommate is also navigating this whole college thing. Maybe it's, being in summer and then going back to college is just a really big adjustment. So we're all just adjusting. We're all just navigating this whole college thing. It's weird. It's crazy. Like, many of us moved out of state 100 to 1,000 miles away. Like, that's crazy. It's weird. And you're now living in such a close quarters with some stranger, potentially. In my case, it was. So just give them grace, knowing that they're not going to be perfect. You're not perfect. And that we're both all just navigating this whole college thing. My roommate, Jessica, and I, we also set some kind of boundaries. So it was like an unwritten rule that, like, when Jessica and I both woke up in the morning, we weren't like, what's up, good morning, like, how are, it's just like talking all, whatever. We just needed our time to, like, wake up, get into our groove, and prepare ourselves for our day. So, like, a lot of our mornings literally would be like, we'd just get ready in silence, because that's what I needed, that's what she needed. And I respected what she wanted, and she respected what I wanted. Or, like, we always wanted to keep our room very clean. Like, our room was so tiny that, like, one thing on the floor literally was just in the middle of the floor, and it just got messy really quick. So we both just made a conscious effort to do just that. And then let's see what else. So we set some kind of boundaries. We wanted the room clean, and another thing about this, boundaries, is that my roommate, Jessica, she was on the dance team. So her schedule first semester was wake up really early for practice number 1, go to all her classes, find time to eat in between, and then go to practice number 2, and then come home and, get ready to go to bed because she had to wake up really early. And so in between her second practice and after her class, she would, take a nap, because college, trust me, you need naps, and it's hard and it's stressful. And so I respected that, and I also respected that, like, she had to wake up really early, and I wasn't going to be on the phone with Jake till 3 a.m. being super loud with all the lights on. Like, I was very very respectful of what she needed and what she wanted during that super stressful season of her life. Yet she was also so awesome and respectful to me back. Like, she was so grateful of me, and she, like, let me know that and made me feel really good. But she also understood, like, okay, Kyia doesn't love going out on the weekends every weekend, and she likes to get to bed early. And so she respected that too. So it was just like, I give her respect, she gives it right back. And it was just awesome. It literally, we had no problems, because it literally first was built on love, because we just loved each other. We do love each other still. And then we both just respected each other and respected what we wanted as individuals. And then also, like, say there was a problem at hand, which Jessica and I, we didn't have many at all. But, like, we always just wanted to solve it, and we always just wanted to get over it and forgive, because, like, our small little shoebox of a room was our safe space, was our time that, like, I could cry, that she could cry, that we can just work on homework or just have our me time. And that was our safe space. And we didn't want that safe space to be a toxic space, to be a space where we didn't want to be in anymore. So we literally did everything we could just to make that space the most positive, the most amazing thing that it could be. She accepted me for all that I am. And trust me, guys, I was not a perfect roommate, and I am not a perfect human. And living with me is hard. And bless her heart, because she did it. And I just love on her. I truly do love her for all that she is and some. But yeah, going to college, right? So, like, I would say the beginning of college, okay, so college has, like, its stages, if you will. So the beginning of college is like, okay, like, figuring it out, experimenting, testing the waters. And then you get in the groove of it. You're like, okay, I'm going to my classes, I got this, whatever. And then you, like, get more comfortable. You start hanging out with the same group of girls or guys, or you start having a friend group or whatever. And then at the end of the school year, you're like, oh my God, how did this year fly by? I don't want to leave this person that I just became best friends with forever. But it all takes time, and you just have to, like, be patient and just trust and just know that, like, it'll all be okay. And just because, Ole Miss wasn't for me and wasn't something that I wanted to pursue anymore, doesn't mean that I don't love it. Doesn't mean that I hated it or had such a terrible experience. No, it just was, I just had different things. I just had a different path that I wanted to take. And that's by no means a problem or anything, like, good, bad. It is what it is. But that's what I learned at college. And I've learned so much about myself. For instance, like I've learned like what I want to do in the future. I learned how I want to spend my time, or what I look for in a friend, and how long distance works, and all that in a bag of chips. So just be gentle with yourself. College is scary, school is scary, leaving home is scary, change is scary, but just give yourself grace. And I hope that you guys can take little bits and pieces of my story in college and apply it to yours and learn from that. But yeah, that concludes this episode. I love you guys so very much. You guys could be doing 1,000 million different things right now, but you're here and you're watching or you're listening, and that literally means the entire world to me and some. And for that, I'm seriously forever grateful. So from the bottom of my heart, I love you guys so much. Have the best day ever. Mwah! This podcast is for the dreamers, the doers, and the go-getters. I love you guys so very much. Mwah! Thank you guys so much for listening. Tune in to the next episode. And while you're at it, leave a rating and review to boost the podcast algorithm to ensure that we grow organically. I love you guys so much. Have the best day ever.